Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Capital Crossfire. This is Crossfire 360. I'm Sejal Govindarao.
And I'm Brianna Budelli. Today we'll be discussing everything you need to know about the Khashoggi report and U.S.-Saudi relations. On Friday, February 26th, the United States declassified a report concerning the murder of Washington Post columnist and critic of the Saudi Arabian government, Jamal Khashoggi. The report directly implicated Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Khashoggi's murder. Khashoggi's column in the Washington Post, which at times criticized Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, often called MBS, infuriated Saudi leadership. Khashoggi was last seen visiting the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in 2018. Although his murder took place in Turkey, there is reason to believe that the Saudi government is responsible.
Since the report calls out the Saudi prince as involved in the killing, U.S.-Saudi relations are expected to be impacted for years to come. The Saudi response to the publication of the report was hostile. The statement from the Saudis read, quote, "The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia completely rejects the negative, false, and unacceptable assessment in the report pertaining to the kingdom's leadership, and notes that the report contained inaccurate information and conclusions." Despite the publication of the report, the Biden administration has yet to take direct action against Prince Mohammed, unwilling to cut ties with Saudi Arabia because of the country's important roles in U.S.-Iran relations, countering terrorist groups, brokering peace negotiations with Israel, and potentially pushing its leaders closer to China. The U.S. announced travel and financial sanctions on Saudis involved in the killing and members of the royal guard who protect the crown prince. Last Friday, the State Department enacted the Khashoggi ban, visa restrictions against 76 Saudis accused of threatening or harming dissidents, journalists, and activists. Khashoggi's murder took place in 2018, and this is the first time the report has been disclosed to the public. The Crown Prince was closely allied with the Trump administration, so Biden's decision to release the report seems to be a strategic move to differentiate himself from his predecessor by publicly implicating the Crown Prince. Dennis Ross, a former Middle East negotiator and foreign policy aide in administrations of both parties, said in an interview, quote, "We are now doing things that show a clear difference from Trump on democracy and human rights."
The declassification of the report is being commended across the aisle. However, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, publicly criticized the Biden administration's failure to more harshly punish Prince Mohammed for the murder of Khashoggi. Schiff said in a tweet, quote, "The Biden administration should ensure that repercussions for the brutal murder of Khashoggi go beyond those who carried it out to the ones who ordered it. The Crown Prince has blood on his hands, the blood of an American resident and journalist. We must have accountability," end quote. In a recent CNN interview, Schiff called for shunning the Crown Prince and going after Prince Mohammed's assets that were used in the operation. The full extent of the Biden administration's response is still yet to be seen. Either way, the foreign affairs reaction demands a delicate balance between the condemnation of Saudi actions and preserving the relationship between the two states. All right, well, that's all for this episode of Capital Crossfire. Be sure to check us out online at www.gwtv.com and follow us on Twitter and Instagram and like us on Facebook.